Hey, welcome back to Visions Now Supper Club. All views expressed for their educational and journalistic purposes, they're not the views of the management, advertisers, nor staff of 92.1 FM. However, Visions does desire to bring a quality entertainment program which intellectually stimulates and culturally fulfills our community's needs to develop leadership and informed decision-making for our collective future. Welcome to the village. Often imitated, but never duplicated. I'm Dr. Jaylene Hood, your host and executive producer. Welcome.
Hey, everybody, it's Dr. Jamar Harrison Bryant. Welcome to the Let's Be Clear podcast. You are going to be challenged. You're going to be strengthened. You're going to be convicted. And I'm believing at the end of this conversation, your mind is going to be changed. Sitting with me today is one of the gurus of insight and wisdom for Black wealth and for wealth accountability. I'm glad to have one of my mentors and father figures, Dr. George Frazier. Welcome, sir. Honored to have you.
It's so good to be with you. So good to see you. And I feel wealthy just being in your presence. God bless you.
You felt wealthy when you woke up. It wasn't before you got into my presence. You absolutely felt wealthy.
Yes, this is true.
Yes.
It's in the mind.
It is. Dr. Frazier, something is, I want to jump right in. Something is wrong in the culture. We probably would be the only culture on the planet that celebrates poverty. That there is a badge of honor for coming through the penitentiary, that we glorify the ghetto, and we have a bipolar relationship with success. We want it, but we despise those who have it. What has happened to us that we embrace the bottom?
I want to say this and still be loved.
Yes.
I have found the enemy, and the enemy is us.
Wow.
There is a critical existential problem in our culture that must be dealt with.
Do you want to know where to invest $1,000 right now? Well,
and that is the Black family. The Black family is in a state of crisis. And no one is going to save us but us. It has been 400 years and we ain't saved. Who the hell are we waiting for? We're waiting for us. And it starts really, from my perspective, the number one crisis that we must deal with going into the final 3 generations of the 21st century is the restructure of the Black family. There is no culture in the history of humankind that has maximized their full human potential without family being at the center of that culture. Right. Today, marriage in our culture, this is a longer answer to a very deep question,
Yes.
which you asked, and the better the question, the deeper the answer.
Right.
When I was coming up, marriage in the culture, I'm just about 80. was 85%. Today it is 34%. 34%. According to all of the statistics and trajectories of the numbers, if we don't fix this, within the next 20 years, it'll be in the low teens. Okay. So that's one part of the problem. The other part of the problem that there is a disconnection between Black males and females that has spilled over into how we are guiding our succession plan, our legacy, our children.
Yeah.
If our children cannot see the future, they're not going to pay the price. Everything we do, we really do for our children. They are our succession plan, and they are our legacy. 70% of our children are born out of wedlock, and 70% of our children are raised in a single parent household. That's not good. It fertilizes to a great extent a poverty mindset.
Yeah.
Because where there is no family has a dramatic impact on accumulated wealth. Make no mistake about that. Let's just look at the statistics. East Indians replace white people. Household median income annual, $124,000 a year. What is the marriage rate in the East Indian community? 94%. Second, also replace white people are Chinese Asians. Average annual household income, $109,000. What is the marriage rate in the Chinese Asian community? About 65%. Third are white people. Average household median income, $81,000 a year. Marriage rate, 57%. Fourth are Hispanics. Average household income, $63,000 a year. Marriage rate, 67%. And we are at the bottom. Average household income, $52,000 a year. Marriage rate, 34%.
Wow.
Only 66% of men, Black men, are married, and less than 70% of Black women are married. 29% will never, ever get married. Until we fix that, because it contributes to the levels of poverty, you can see that income and two people working towards the same goals average a heck of a lot more on an annual income basis than one person trying to do it by themselves. So this is something that we must address. We will not rise. We will not maximize our full human potential until we fix the issue of the Black family, fix marriage, and fix the disconnection between the Black male and the Black female. That's a complex, gnarly problem and difficult to talk about. But again, I want to say this to the sisters out there, and I want to say this and still be loved. It seems to me that Black women at this moment in time, Pastor, would rather have a baby than to be a wife.
Who's coming in the driveway?
Wow. So we have to fix that. Lots of reasons for that. There's 3 generations of programming that I think that is at the crown of this experience that we're talking about here. One is, for 3 generations, our sisters have been told and taught, don't ever trust or depend on a Black man to take care of you. A. B, our sisters have responded to that. And now, with education, in work, and salary, they are, in many cases, doing better. There are more sisters in law school, medical school, dental school, engineering schools than Black men.
Right.
And salaries are equal or better. And now our sisters are saying, And you've heard it a million times. I don't need you. I can do this better by myself. So there's a consciousness and a mindset that we have to fix that contributes to this deficit of thinking about why wealth is important.
Yeah.
Why is wealth important? Let me say it a different way. When we finish pontificating ad nauseum about our issues
Yes.
and opportunities, somebody's got to write a check. Nothing will get done without money exchanging hands. We need money to educate our children, to fulfill our family responsibilities. And it seems as though that our wealth is declining. We are at the bottom of every single economic statistic that matters in America, and we've been here 400 years now. We know that there are lots of systemic reasons for it. But let me say this way. That was then and this is now. All right. Let me make it even simpler than that. We can never use racism as a reason to fail. Why? Because there is racism. And therefore, racism wins and you lose. I refuse to lose.
Yeah.
You refuse to lose. We understand that we still live in a racist country. Make no mistake about that. But it's not the reason to fail. It's not the reason to do badly. Our historical story is a horror story.
Yeah.
Right. So moving beyond this sort of poverty mindset, as well as the statistical, realities of the poverty that exists in our culture, in spite of the fact we came over here since, with the Mayflower. We have a lot of work to do on ourselves. That's really what it is. The work has to be done from the inside out. It's a change of consciousness and a change of mindset. It's understanding better on who we really are. See, white people know who we really are. They've known that since they dragged us over here. We're the only immigrants, non-immigrants in this country. We did not come over here as immigrants. We were dragged over here. And they know from whence we came. We don't know. We don't really, we know our modern history, let's say the last 400 years, but we have no clue of our ancient history that we were building pyramids and solving complex engineering problems when other cultures were living in the Caucasus Mountains practicing cannibalism.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's true.
So if everything happens for a reason and serves us in some special way, and you will never understand that reason looking forward, and you will only understand it looking backwards, let's think about this differently. Maybe we were not brought here, Pastor. Maybe we were sent here. Do you believe that God would put his weakest people here to do his toughest job? How could America at that time morally, spiritually, and biblically justify the kidnapping, raping, and pillaging of another two people?
Wow.
Natives already in America
Wow.
and Africans brought to America have any moral or spiritual grounding. And perhaps had God not sent Africans here, America might have self-destructed by now. So we have power. We are the most creative people on the planet. We absolutely have been making a way out of no way. I think we're also the most morally grounded and spiritually rooted people in this country. We have a lot to work with. And for poverty to dominate our being, our thinking, a poverty mindset, is antithetical to who we really are. So this is going to require therapy. Where are we going to get this therapy? We're going to get it in a progressive, good, and righteous Black church. I agree. That's one of the places we're going to get therapy. We're going to get therapy by honestly, openly discussing and talking about it and bringing this out. And as we speak about it, we create pictures, and we can look at those pictures, and that kind of therapy could possibly help. But we need therapy. We all do, right? I've been getting therapy for 80 years. And the way I get therapy is I hang out with brothers like you and Delano Johnson and Randy and Jackie, and I can name a whole, right? And just being in their presence It's impossible for me to have a poverty mindset. They don't think that way.
Wow.
Right. So, as I like to say, because I talk about the power of the human connection often, introduce me to your 5 closest friends, and that will tell me who you are. As they
Yes.
know and as they go, so go you. So it's the people in your circle. And this is important that we ingest that. It's important now, every now and then we make mistakes in terms of the people in our circle, and we have to recognize that mistake over time. Sometimes it's called a divorce. Sometimes it's called simply a bless and release, right? There are people in our lives that come into our lives, and it could be family. That's why friends are critically important, because it's God's way of apologizing for your relatives.
Wow.
Right. Now you can pick your
Wow.
friends, but you can't pick your
That's
relatives.
right.
Now there are relatives that are toxic. I've had them.
Yeah.
Right? I'm from a family of 11, right? 8 boys and 3 girls.
Incredible.
Right. And people ask me all the time, Dr. Fraser, how did you get to Cleveland, Ohio? I got to Cleveland, Ohio running away from my family. That's how I got to Cleveland, Ohio. A quick story. I was an orphan for 2 years. My mother became mentally ill. And at 2, we were orphaned, 6 of us. We stayed in an orphanage from 2 to 5. And then we were put into foster care. I aged out of foster care, spending between about 16 years in orphanages and foster care. We aged out of foster care. But I have older brothers who, fortunately, my biological father, kept in touch with his children, even in orphanages and foster care.
Wow.
Had a brownstone in Brooklyn, New York. He maintained that brownstone. So like 40% of foster kids, once they age out, they have no place to go. Many of them end up homeless, right?
Yeah.
I had a place to go. My sister had a place to go. And my younger brother, Joseph, the 3 of us were in the same foster care. But by the time we got back to my father's home, my older brothers were heroin addicts and heroin dealers. Heroin addicts and heroin. So here I am living in a brownstone in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn, New York, with 3 heroin addicts and heroin dealers, people coming in
Wow.
out of our house, right? So I didn't say very much. I just packed up what little I had very quietly, got on a Greyhound bus, and went to Cleveland, Ohio, because I had an older sister that lived there.
Yeah.
Right. I was running away from my family. I had to, and I did not tell them where I was, other than I told my next door neighbor where I was going, and so that they wouldn't think that I was killed or kidnapped or that kind of thing. And I did not come back to New York for 5 or 6 years until I had my act together. I came back to New York, and then I dragged one of my older brothers out of a drug-infested apartment, put him in my car, and drove him to Cleveland, Ohio, and saved his life. So again, I don't mean to make a half-hour story out of this, but everything is in sequence. Everything is in its time, and everything is a lesson. It's a lesson. It was a lesson. It was an obstacle that I had to overcome. My favorite quote outside of the Bible is a quote by Marcus Aurelius. Marcus Aurelius, one of the 5 great Caesars.
Yes.
Right. And one of the co-founders of the Stoic philosophy. And he said in 600 BC that the impediment to action advances the action. What stands in your way becomes the way. In other words, the obstacle
Is the way.
Where there is no obstacle, there is no way. In other words, obstacles do not block the path. Obstacles are the path.
Yes.
That's exactly right. What is the first thing God does when he gives you an assignment he feels that you are prepared for, Pastor? He puts an obstacle in your way.
Yes.
And your job is to find a way over, around, through, and under that obstacle. Learn the lessons, stumble, fall, make the mistakes, and apply those lessons to the next assignment God feels that you are prepared for. And then he does what? He puts an obstacle in your way. And when you look back over your entire life, that's your entire life. It's overcoming obstacle. Poverty mindset. We're not in the best position that we ought to be. It's an obstacle. There are lessons that we must learn from this. We're powerful people. We can do this, and we will do this. We have no choice. And we have to have each other to do it.
No, it's strong.
Yeah.
James Baldwin said that many of us are afflicted with survivor's guilt. We're made to feel bad for doing well.
Yeah.
And I want you to unpack the burden of being blessed while being Black.
Where do you get these questions from? That's a wonderful question.
Yeah.
That is a wonderful question. I'm going to pivot on that question. I'm not going to answer the question with the question. It is really just a test of George Fraser.
Yes.
I've wondered for years, why did God make Black people first? Right? First human remains found in the Olduvai Gorge in Ethiopia.
Yeah.
100,000 years ago. You're hanging out in Ethiopia, you're blue-black.
Yes.
Right? Why did he make us first, though? Was God Black? What? And then I discovered the reason just thinking about it hard. We're the only people on earth that can make every color of human being. Nobody else can do that.
Yeah.
Right? And God's intention was to populate his earth with different color people.
Yes.
We were the only ones that could do that. Once you understand how powerful that is, it makes you feel good being Black.
Yeah.
Right? That we have a unique power. We're also, I don't know if it's a burden of being Black, it's the responsibility of being Black. We are the most creative people on the planet. We really are.
No doubt about it.
There's a unique gene in us, a unique gift that we have, that we can look at something and we can really create something literally from nothing. And we have proven that for certainly the 400 years that we've been here. That's a beautiful, beautiful, powerful thing to have. And we have a magnificent history. And people say, well, if you go and visit, Egypt, there wasn't Black people that did that. I said, no, that's not true, because you obviously have never been to Egypt, and you've never been in the pyramids of Giza, or you've never been in the Valley of the Kings and have seen the paintings on the walls that are thousands of years old. They're Black people of every color, blue, Black, right? And look at me, I'm light, bright, look almost white, but I'm when I open my mouth, I'm Black, right? Because Black is really not so much about color, but about culture. About culture.
Yeah.
So that's what we're talking about. And I now go back to the original point that I made, and that is, where there are no couples, there are no marriages. Where there are no marriages, there are no families. And where there are no families, there is no community. And where there is no community, there is no culture. Right? So we have to make each other and in God's image and the historical greatness of Black people. And that is a tall order. And to consistently add to that. What more can we add to that? What more can we do? What more can we contribute? And most of that will have to come with doing. Unity and collaboration must come from us. And the interesting statistic, there are 8 billion people in the world. 16% are white people. 84% of melanated people, dominated by people of African descent throughout the diaspora, 1.5 billion, and Asians, and numbers a little larger than that. So what does that mean? It means that we're not outnumbered, we're out-organized.
Mm.
All right. And so once we understand the power of the human connection, the power of organization, right? We connect the dots, as I've been saying for years. Game over.
Yeah.
But no one's interested in that game being over, because the game as it's played, as we know it, benefits them. Right? So we have to still do the work. Game over once we get our act together, change our mindset and consciousness. And people ask me all the time, Dr. Fraser, how long will that take? How long will it take to close the income and wealth gap between blacks and whites in America? I say about 100 years. We didn't get this way overnight. We're not going to solve it overnight. About 100 years, another 3 to 5 generations. So.
Yeah, but with us now, Black people own more stock in the stock market than they ever had.
Yes.
And help me to build the divide. We have more stock, drum roll, and own less homes. How is that even conceivable?
I needed affordable therapy that fit my.
We're here in Atlanta.
Yeah, I know.
We had I need you to hear this. 19,000 homes. 19,000 homes are for lease.
Yeah.
Wow. They're taking away home ownership.
Yeah.
Just for the aesthetic.
Yeah. Many of those are corporate.
Yes.
Big corporations buying up homes to lease, not to buy.
Yes.
That's right. That's right. And we're going for it.
We're going for it.
The other interesting statistic is that the average home in the hood, all the hoods in America, Black homes, are undervalued by $48,000.
Woo!
That extracts $126 billion out of our cultural wealth. Right? The average hood home in the hood is undervalued by $48,000. So you count the number of homes that we do own, let alone the ones that are leased, that's owned by corporations. That's an extraction of wealth. We have to fix that, and we can fix that. And we have to understand the 4 pillars for the intergenerational transfer of wealth. And the first pillar is the proper management of accumulated wealth. Right? That's the first pillar. That means financial literacy, financial education. We are the most financially literate people in America. I mean, we don't talk, we were not talking about wealth at home. Certainly when I was growing up, we weren't talking about it in the church, although there are 2,500 references to wealth and money in the Bible, and 4 of Jesus's parables are about money and wealth. We were, not talking about wealth at school, but that is slowly but surely beginning to change. Progressive churches like yours are talking about wealth and financial education, financial literacy. So this is something that we have to do. That's on us. And I think more of that is happening than ever before. But we still have a lot of work to do.
I want to pull the blanket off of the lump in the living room. We're in the middle of probably one of the most critical presidential elections. And I am seeing more and more Black male celebrities out of hip hop culture saying they're going to vote for Trump. They feel like the economy is better, the stock market is better, their taxes are better. There was an old saying, you would know better than me, success runs in the race. And the previous generation, 2 generations now prior to me, used to say to a successful Black person that I've not heard in this generation, you are a credit to the race. Say that to people like Joe Louis, credit to the race.
That's right.
Now we're seeing individual success not community advancement.
That's right.
Yeah. How do we sound the alarm to singular successful people to look at the good of the whole?
That's a big challenge.
Yeah.
There are too many of us who are doing well, but are not doing good.
Mm.
They're not giving back,
Yeah.
right? The overall mantra of our conference, the Power Networking Conference coming up in
July 10th
July.
through the 13th, Charlotte, North Carolina.
The-
Meet me, Master P. George.
That's right. And
We'll all be there.
and you'll be doing the closing,
Yes.
the closing remarks. And we're blessed for that. Thank you.
I'm excited.
Yeah, no, we're more excited. And you're filling big shoes.
Yes.
And you specialize in that.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen you do it.
Yes.
Many times. So we have to. What was the question? Was there a question or a
Yes,
statement?
the question is,
right.
there's a growing number
Yes,
of affluent Black males
but not giving back.
who are going with Trump, and they're doing it solely on economic reasons. What do we do? This race is going to be high. It's going to be hard. It's going to be tough.
We're going to have to talk to them.
Yeah.
This is the most amoral human being I have witnessed in my nearly 80 years of living. I don't know how you practice our religion, whatever that may be, and vote for a human being like him. Right? I understand how he got elected the first time. Nobody really knew Trump other than through The Apprentice. I knew Trump because I was raised in New York.
Right.
New Yorkers didn't vote for him. And you
Right.
saw what they did to him.
Yes.
Just recently, 34 felony counts
Yes.
straight up.
Yes.
And I think it's they're going for the okie doke. I mean, the superficial stuff. And I don't know if they've read Project 25. Have you read? Right?
Listen, that's a horror mystery novel.
Oh my God.
We're doing the electric slide backwards.
There you go. No, you read Project, brothers and sisters, go on Google and Google Project 25. This is the agenda of the Republican Party. If in fact Donald Trump is elected president, of which I don't believe he will be, but that's my opinion, this will set us back to the Stone Ages, if you will. Project 25, and look at the impact, how it affects and effects Black people. So if that's what your vote, if that's what you want, well, then you can try to put him in office. There's always going to be a percentage of any group that has twisted logic, is not well informed, does not have the culture as its number one interest.
Yeah.
They have their personal agenda that may be congruent with some superficial thing that he is promising, and they cannot see past the mask that this man is wearing. Now, I don't know that we can fix that. Right. There were those who voted for him the first time. Now, from what I understand, and you're right, I think it's going to be a slightly higher percentage. But last election, 63% of Black people, eligible voters, voted, the highest in the history of Black people voting.
Amazing.
We now have to take that to the next level to compensate for those, and it's mostly men. It's mostly men. It's a larger percentage of Black men than women that are moving towards Trump. We're going to have to just ask our brothers and sisters to come out and vote, because this really, and I know we say it every 4 years, this is the most important election.
Oh, yes.
But this one really is. That's right. This one really is, and you have a contrast. You have a stark contrast between two white people, right? Make no mistake about that. So all we can do is continue to beat the drum for whomever we feel is the best candidate at this moment. And I happen to think it's Biden,
Yeah.
right? As compared to the Project 25
Yes.
agenda.
Yes.
And again, be an informed voter. Bill Maher, the great comedian, has been saying for 10 years that there should be an eligibility test to vote, because there are just a whole lot of real stupid people who vote. And they just should not be voting, right? They just have not, they're not literate enough to vote. Now, I know that harkens back to the early 1900s when we had to take literacy tests and all that kind of stuff. But there's obviously a large number of people who are just not smart. Again, that's my personal opinion, but it's evident when we look at the polls and we look at the 70 to 75 million people who consistently vote for this man.
Yes.
So I don't know what the answer is. I don't know how to change the minds other than pointing them to something to read, something to digest, and to understand what the plan is if in fact he's elected. And it's public. Google Project 25 and read it yourself. And if you endorse it and you still think that's good for Black people, then you do you, because you're right. Do you, because everybody else is taken.
Yeah.
But that's all I can say on that.
Over the pandemic, there was a surge and rise in social media.
Do you know what grapes do to your joints?
Particularly of Black people who were suddenly selling courses on financial literacy. You hadn't heard of any of these people. All of a sudden, they got a class. They got a plot, plan, scheme, conspiracy. And the only pathway to wealth was selling secrets to wealth. They couldn't show us businesses. They couldn't show us real estate. Let me teach you how to ducky. That was it. How, with a generation that is thirsty for this knowledge and they want this information, how are they able to navigate to say, this is what I can be drawn to, not the flash and dash?
Yeah, no, let me give you the 5 secrets of wealth. I already talked about one. The proper management of accumulated wealth, so that you don't end up being an athlete or an entertainer making millions of dollars and within 5 years of retirement, right, is gone, right? That's the improper management of accumulated wealth. You do that through taking financial education courses at certified and approved and trusted sources, right? Like your church. And there are other ways of getting that information. So that's one. Number 2, everybody knows or should know the cornerstone of building wealth, certainly in a middle-class family, is real estate. Real estate, own a home. Own a home, don't lease a home, right? Now, so that's real estate. The third is business. Business, start and build a business. Now, there's some good news there. There are 3.7 million Black-owned businesses in America today. It's the largest number of Black-owned businesses that we have ever had in the history of Black people in America. 3.7 million. A high percentage of those new businesses are our sisters. Okay, our sisters are seeding and starting businesses. So that's the upside. 3.7 million Black-owned businesses today. What's the downside of that? Only 161,000 of those businesses, Black-owned businesses, employ anybody, right? Employ anybody. But those who employ Black people, the average annual wages of those businesses, wages or income, I should say, is $1.5 million a year. That means that 3.5 million of our businesses are sole proprietorships. Wow. And the average annual wage is less than $20,000 a year, and that's below the poverty line. Okay. So we have to focus on not only starting, building, and then scaling our businesses so that we too can create work and jobs for our people. And hopefully by the end of the 21st century, we will be the number one employer of our own people, as Jews are the number one employer of Jews, East Indians are the number one employer of East Indians, Asians are the number one employer of Asians, Arabs are the number one employer of Arabs. We too must do that. We must start and build our own businesses. So the 3.5 million businesses means that our mindset is shifting from what I was getting when I was in school, get a good education and get a good job, right?
Yes.
Not all Black people need to be working for white people, although we need to be everywhere.
About the year of 2030. Watch how this whole world going to look by 2030. Donald Trump, every day, I'm literally seeing how Donald Trump is literally being used to take the biggest sledgehammer to the Western world and shattering it into 1,000 pieces. You know, at times in the Bible, God has for judgment. Some leaders come in to save a nation. Some. So Donald Trump is going to take down the Western world to the point that people are not going to recognize the whole Western world. He has set the Western world in chaos. And if you cannot see the blessing of Donald Trump, and Minister Farrakhan called that out years ago about what Donald Trump was going to do. He literally taken a sledgehammer to the whole system, not just in America, but throughout the world. And that's going to be a blessing to the whole globe, especially to us. Now you say, well, what happened to us if that happens? Well, in the scriptures, when the children of Israel had walked out of Egypt, they had great spoils and they were blessed. They weren't touched by none of the plagues. They weren't touched by none of the judgments. Have you noticed Black people are just fine right now in the midst of all this chaos? Have you noticed we're just fine? Have you noticed that we're happier now than we've ever been? We've been happy in the midst of the chaos that you're seeing with Trump, the chaos of everything. Every day you don't know what's happening. And Black folks are like happy, fine. Black folks out here line dancing. Black folks are barbecuing. Black folks are just enjoying each other again. Why is that happening? Because that judgment is not meant for us. 4 years of Trump gonna be the greatest 4 years for Black people. Trust me, it's gonna be great for us. He ain't got nothing to do with it either. We're not going to suffer like that. We're going to actually grow in stature and grow tremendously because it's time. Wake up. Wake up. It's not in our job to save them or nobody. Sometimes, you know, you have to sit back and just let the Lord work and just work on ourselves in the midst of that. If you try to go out there and save them, you're going to fall under judgment because there's times in the scriptures where the Lord tell you behind and sit down. And if you go out there and do something, it's going to fall upon you. I'm not letting nothing fall upon me. I'm going to stick to what I got to do. I'm not thinking about them folks, not paying attention to them. I don't care how much they cry, they crash out. As long as you crashing out over there and not crashing out over here where we at, we are good, bro. We are not your therapist. Don't come to us. How you Black people make it? I don't get it. So every day that you see Trump doing crazy things, just understand, Trump is doing the Lord's work. He is. No, he's not. He's not. Sit back and watch. Right now, the Republicans are talking about not funding the federal courts and impeaching judges. They're literally trying to tear down the judicial branch. Don't be like, oh my God, he's trying to tear down the federal courts. And how nice have those federal courts been to FBAs all these years? Have they been nice to us? Have they helped us get reparations or something going on in those federal courts? Last time I checked, those federal courts have put a lot of Black people in prison. A lot. Am I going to cry if Trump and them defund them? Not my problem. Don't care. But their whole system being exposed before the world too. Because when God exposes you, he exposes you in the light. It's nothing that people won't see. He's stripping them naked and put them before the world. All the corruption. That's why they mad. Like, what is he doing? What Trump doing? Why he exposing our corruption? Why is he doing this? Why is he doing that? This system been working good for years. What is he doing? They tried to take him out and he was preserved because God wanted him preserved to do what he's doing now. And he ain't done. By the time the end of his presidency, whoo, you wait. Well, Trump just getting started. We living in a real blessed era to live in as Black people. I'm telling you. About the year of 2030, watch how this whole world going to look by 2030. Donald Trump, every day, I'm literally seeing how Donald Trump is literally being used to take the biggest sledgehammer to the Western world and shattering it into 1,000 pieces.
Hello, visionaries. This is Dr. Jaylene Wood, the host and executive producer for Visions Now, and also your Mystic brother. That's right, with the Mystic Moment, 92.1 FM, Smooth R&B, every Thursday, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. And we're the one that said, help us help you. And what we're trying to do is that we're trying to get money into our community. We spend too much money with other people that don't do nothing for our community. All of this water here, that we are here for fundraisers for you, okay, to help us provide resources for our programs for our young people. We were just in Elizabeth County yesterday. We're going to be going to Warren Williams, going to be going to Fowley Homes, and we're coming to a neighborhood near you. But the bottom line is that if you have an athletic team, they need to be drinking real water. This is water not from Walmart. This is from the Black Wall Street Network. We have to bring our dollars back home. We're making everybody rich, okay, and also making us emotionally poor because we don't support each other. So if you have a business out there, a restaurant, or you know somebody, or you just want to get some water for your own personal use, this is the best water in the business. None better. God made this water. It's artesian spring water. Artesian. Don't go by this. I'm not gonna call no name. That blue bottle and them all these other jackleg bottles. No, this is the real water. Hello, Chattahoochee Valley. Yes, organize, organize, organize. That's right. Educate, educate, educate. Motivate, motivate, motivate. That's right. That's what time it is. We now there's a lot to unpack here today, and again, I'd like to thank you for being with us today. And Julian, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. How about yourself?
All praise due to the Most High. And again, Dr. Frazier, we talked about wealth, and also, of course, and the foundational wealth go back to the family. There's some things, there's some real decisions that we're going to have to make. We're going to get out of our feelings and make logical decisions. Right. I mean that just scientific decisions, and that's where our ancestors did it. They didn't operate out of feelings. We're gonna get into that too. Yeah. And of course, now the gentleman just forget his name now, but you were just saying that Donald Trump, this presidency is a blessing, and I'd like to find out what you think about that as well. And where you want to start at? Where you want to jump off at?
We can start with Donald Trump.
Okay. We'll start there.
Work it back.
Okay. Well, what do you think about what he said? I mean, on one hand, you say, well, I mean, you can make them sense there. Then on the other hand, you say, how do you process it? How do you look at that situation?
I know some people, they heard that they might have exploded. They heard, but I think it's something that should be said. It's an interesting point. I do kind of agree. He said the Minister Farrakhan mentioned something about this some years ago. Basically, he was saying that Donald Trump is going to remove all excuses.
He's going to be like a bull in a channel store. Yeah. And as to whether or not, I guess it goes back again. Like I was talking to some of the guys today in the prison, and I was just saying to them that you all are wasting a lot of time because, people who are out in the quote unquote free world. Many times we plugged into the system in a way whereby we don't want to unplug. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So therefore, change, the way we look at change is like, well, like,
we resist it.
Yeah, just like we were talking about earlier a little bit of air, how so many of us invested in the stock market. Right. But the stock market is the same people that are putting us out of work, that are embracing AI. I was thinking about this also was that, what was one of the critical things that got us the great migration from the south to the north? You know what that was?
Was jobs.
Yeah, but what happened in the south that brought about that great migration? That's what I'm saying.
Other than just slavery, then not nothing that I'm aware of.
Okay. Well, what it was the cotton gin. See, because we were all picking cotton.
Yeah.
But then when the cotton gin came along, technology,
Yeah.
then they put us out of work.
Yeah.
Then the northern factory said, "Hey, look, we building cars and the factory got factory. Y'all." So they would take whole towns of us, So that was a great migration from the south, was to get the jobs into the new plants, from the plantation to the plants.
Yeah.
We'll put that in the book too.
Right.
From the plantation to the plants.
Right.
And so basically that's what happened, right? Now that technology is taking over the automobile industry, and see, this is another thing also is that if you follow that the legalization of drugs, vapes and I guess hybrid hemp
Right.
and all that. In other words, what the situation is that when people get put out of these jobs, right? You got a whole class. You got the low class, right? And of course the underclass, the low class, and the middle class. Okay, part of from the underclass to the low class to the middle class, though a lot of those jobs are being lost, right?
Yeah.
So that's how many times people got into drugs as an economy, because and then if you think about it, okay, the history was that whenever you wanted to have it within a population, okay, they don't already know. People know that when you have a population of people who are smart and intelligent and educated, and when they are dislocated, they become revolutionaries. I mean, because they want to become revolutionary. They want to change the system. But if you are drunk, if you on crack, if you're on heroin or cocaine, then you're taking these drugs because of your depression.
Yeah.
So therefore, what is happening now is that then they set up drug laws to make sure that people who got the drug dealers and those on drugs, and many of those on drugs start selling drugs to take for their own drug habits, and as a result of that, they end up in prison too.
Right.
So then what happens is that okay, you get locked up in prison. So you do 10 years or whatever, then you come out and then you get have a child with somebody, right?
Yeah.
So therefore then you go back into prison, right? So that means that your child's out here being reared by the mothers.
Yes,
But the mothers can't rear the children. So what it amounts to is that the mothers are basically raising new criminals. It's just like a crop. Just like corn, just like a crop. It's okay, because the father is not there providing entrepreneurship by there. Because the whole idea is that every family is supposed to be a business. That's where it was in the beginning. It was a self-contained business.
Yeah, absolutely.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's what a family is. Now, okay. But today, for example, you grew up in a family, your number one thing is to get a job.
Right.
It's not about the family, it's about me taking care of myself. And good luck, mom and dad, and good luck, sister. So therefore, I'm plugging into this system, and everybody. I help. Good luck. I mean, I help you out best I can, but I mean, like we're all on our own, basically.
Geronimo.
Right. So I'm going on my vacation, ride my boat, sitting on doing my deck, get my nice little house until my time passed, and then I die. Then you do. But again, no progress is being made
Within the family.
within the family business.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like right now, within our, okay. So as a result of that, you have people who in the family who don't want to be a part of the family business.
Right.
But you're a part of the family business. The question becomes, are you going to help the family? Now, you can get another job. You can get a job, so to speak.
Yeah.
But you take your money from the job to contribute to the family business. Now, when you turning your dollar over now to support whatever the family business is.
Yeah,
so the family business, you can expand it out to the tribal business.
Right.
In other words, the clan, the tribe.
Yeah.
You know that's all
Outside
extended
the-
family.
Yeah, extended. Yeah.
So therefore, if you're working outside and making money, well, you taking that money and you buying things from your own, like we talking about, from your own community,
Yeah.
from your own family.
Right. Yeah. Turn it over.
Turning it over. So therefore, that the people that are making the most progress are those. They talked about the East Indians, the Chinese. In other words, they turn those dollars over. I think the East Indians turn the dollar over maybe I think like 30 times before it goes outside. The Asians, and then the Jewish community like 16 times, 15, 16 times. The Caucasian around 12, 13 times. The Hispanic community, I think 7 days. It turns over. In our community, maybe 7 hours.
Right.
So now we get income, $1.5 trillion income.
Yeah.
That's more money than Canada, Mexico, in terms of our income.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't even have a grocery store in the service station. So therefore, our monies, we don't have no family business. No tribal business.
No sustenance.
Yeah, so therefore, when we basically it's just like those guys in prison. And I talk to them all the time. Okay, they working, then they come back to the prison, but they spend their money in all the vending machines inside the prison. They even give them money inside the prison to put in the vending machines. Yeah, I mean, so therefore, the money
you can't get out of the hole. Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say. The money is like the money circulating right back.
I think he mentioned Dr. Frazier. You mentioned one thing about I think kind of what you said too, but like you said, being educated will change that.
Right.
He said a lot of people. I think he said some people are dumb, but he said that might have been his opinion. But,
right.
But that was not. He was talking about voting.
Right.
But I'm thinking about just in the same situation. Some people.
But he did mention that, for example, out of the 3.7 million businesses that people of African descent have in America, the majority of those, I think, said 2.5 or something like that, are sole proprietorships.
Don't employ anybody.
They ain't employing nobody.
Yeah.
When the whole thing about it, one time, let's go back to the original. The dude John concept is that we're going to employ our family members. It wasn't no in between. When your mama left her, okay, if your mama married you, she leave her tribe and become a part of your tribe.
Yeah.
Okay, your clan, your family, your tribe.
Right.
Okay, now the idea is that whatever we were growing, we were circulating it back, feeding our tribe.
Right.
And our tribe was invested in us. So therefore, just like if you wanted to do one thing, so therefore we were bartering each other. At some point, we started giving each other credit in the form of what we call money. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So therefore, but again, it stayed within the family. We can go beyond that. Let's take the numbers business. Yeah. The numbers business used to be played in the black community.
I remember.
Okay. And that kept money circulating in the black community. Yeah. Okay. What happened when the lotto came? The lotto people going to the store, that money not coming back. We were buying property, opening up businesses, but the lotto, you ain't getting that money back. They got new game now. You can gamble in Las Vegas and stuff. You know these little games.
Like a video.
Yeah. I see. I think Joe. What is this guy name? But Rogan. He be promoting a lot of them. But when you know how you vote on in Las Vegas, you know how they got commercials on that now. Yeah. But my point is that money ain't coming back. That money ain't helping you buy nothing. Because that money's gone. They're gonna helping them buy stuff.
Build up with strip and stuff.
That's my point. See what I'm saying? So that's one thing. Matter of fact, there's a piece, and we're gonna get this young man. We're gonna take a break. And I want you to listen. This guy must have been listening to me over the years.
Right.
Okay, because what he's saying is the same thing I've been saying to young brother too. So we're gonna try to come back and talk a little bit more about this because we got to understand again. Now understanding this. But it won't work until we get the boy-girl stuff. It's very clear to everybody.
That was how they started off the interview, doesn't it? That was the first thing they said.
It won't work until we get the boy-girl. And where it is right now, the black females, not everybody, but as a rule, are enemies to the family. Mm-hmm. Why'd you say that, Dr. Hood? Well, one is that because too many are keeping the fathers away from the children. Okay, so therefore, you don't keep you want to bring the father in to help you raise those children. Whether you stay with the man or not, with the guy or not, you still want him to be involved with those children to help manage the discipline and provide some protection and provide some direction for the family. So without that, the whole point is that what does the record say? Well, I got my own money, got my own car. Where you get the money from? From your man. Who is your man? Your employer. So that now you're saying, look, I don't need you. So therefore, you can go to prison. You give me a baby. It's my child. I'm gonna raise the child. But what am I raising the child do? To go work for the same people I work for. So therefore, and again, they just say I do saying it. They don't realize how we are working against each other. But Dr. Fraser, he said it, right?
Yeah, I think that he mentioned a statistic early in the interview too. He said that the marriage rate is expected for African Americans to be like in the low teens.
Yeah, I think it was like 30%. I think the Asians were like 90-something. The East Indian, then I think say the Chinese was like 60-something, and then I think say the Caucasians around 50 or something like that. And then we're like in the 30s.
Yeah, and they said in the future, in the next maybe he said about 20 years, it's expected to drop to like below 15.
That part. We got a movie that talk 72%. The 72%, we might find out that like 72% of black children are born out of wedlock. See what I'm saying? Crazy. But let's take a break. I want to try to see if we can find this thing. I want to play some Gil Scott Heron, and let's see if we can find it. Because I want to really play this because this is critical to our discussion. This is the Visions Down the Supper Club. Lee Hood, your host and executive producer.
You will not be able to stay home, brother. You will not be able to plug in, turn on, and cop out. You will not be able to lose yourself on Skag and skip out for beer during commercials because the revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be brought to you by Xerox in 4 parts without commercial interruptions. The revolution will not show you pictures of Nixon blowing a bugle and leading a charge by John Mitchell, General Abrams, and Spyro Agnew to eat hog maws confiscated from a Harlem sanctuary. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be brought to you by the Schaefer Award Theater and will not star Natalie Woods and Steve McQueen or Bullwinkle and Julia. The revolution will not give your mouth sex appeal. The revolution will not get rid of the nubs. The revolution will not make you look 5 pounds thinner because the revolution will not be televised, brother. There will be no pictures of you and Willie Mae pushing that shopping cart down the block on the dead run or trying to slide that color TV into a stolen ambulance. NBC will not be able to predict the winner at 8:32 on report from 29 districts. The revolution will not be televised. There will be no pictures of pigs shooting down brothers on the instant replay. There will be no pictures of pigs shooting down brothers on the instant replay. There will be no pictures of Whitney Young being run out of Harlem on a rail with a brand new process. There will be no slow motion or still life of Roy Wilkins strolling through Watts in a red, black, and green liberation jumpsuit that he has been saving for just the proper occasion. Green Acres, Beverly Hillbillies, and Hooterville Junction will no longer be so damn relevant, and women will not care if Dick finally got down with Jane on Search for Tomorrow because black people will be in the street looking for a brighter day. The revolution will not be televised. There will be no highlights on the 11 o'clock news and no pictures of Harry R. Women Liberationists and Jackie Onassis blowing her nose. The theme song will not be written by Jim Webb or Francis Scott Keys, nor sung by Glenn Campbell, Tom Jones, Johnny Cash, Engelbert Humperdinck, or The Rare Earth. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be right back after a message about a white tornado, white lightning, or white people equal. You will not have to worry about a dove in your bedroom, the tiger in your tank, or the giant in your toilet bowl. The revolution will not go better with coke. The revolution will not fight germs that may cause bad breath. The revolution will put you in the driver's seat. The revolution will not be televised, will not be televised, will not be televised, will not be televised. The revolution will be no rerun, brothers. The revolution will be live.
So today we're going to talk about a more ideal dating model than traditional for Black people, because the traditional dating system was built on white wealth and government handouts that excluded us, right? So this means regardless of what we pick, 50-50, 100-0, none of those are going to work because Black people experience economic theft, unpaid labor, and social instability at higher rates. So we need a system that prioritizes fairness, stability, and collective power in a relationship. So I call this the Black legacy model. It's a framework designed to counteract systemic barriers, redistribute labor fairly, and build generational wealth for us, because Black love can't thrive under a system that wasn't made for us. So here's the first core pillar: financial partnership. It's not who pays what. Here's why the traditional model fails. Black men have been locked out of wealth building, right? Redlining, mass incarceration, job discrimination, and Black women had to work and run households, double labor with no recognition, and that wasn't sustainable, right? White couples succeed because they inherit assets. Black people often inherit struggle. Here's where the legacy model fixes it: income-based contributions. Whoever makes more pays more without resentment, period. That's the end of that discussion. Economic flexibility. If one partner is in career building mode, the other one provides stability, but the goal is long-term balance, right? Asset accumulation over consumption, right? Stop the paycheck to paycheck cycle, prioritize home ownership, investments in life insurance, but financial transparency and education. Talk about money openly. No more financial secrets or struggling in silence, right? No one should feel like a provider or a burden. We are building together, right? This is a building together. The second pillar is the redistribution of labor, fairness over gender roles, right? Here's why the traditional roles fail Black couples. Black women do more unpaid labor, housework, childcare, emotional labor, even when they work full time. Black men are expected to financially provide even when the system puts them at a disadvantage, right? That kind of creates an emotional tension. But here's how the Black legacy model resolves this. Labor is shared, not assigned by gender. If you live there, you clean there. If you eat, you cook sometimes. Emotional labor is recognized and reciprocated, right? So if she listens to your struggles, listen to hers. If he needs reassurance, give it too. It really is just about helping each other. No one partner is overworked while the other coasts. Balance is what creates longevity. It is not your feelings. Right. And this is also another thing, that childcare is a partnership, not a favor. A father isn't a babysitter. He's an equal parent. We got to start actually just talking about the level of accountability we need to have, given how far we've, gotten. The third pillar is community and family investment. This is the village approach, right? Here's where the American model failed us. White families accumulate wealth through generational support, right? Inheritance, business connections, housing assistance, right? But Black couples are expected to do everything alone, often while supporting extended family, right? The reverse. Here's how we fix this. Okay, family and community support. Raising kids ain't just on the parents, grandparents, aunties, and trusted friends contribute. Group economies, pulling money for investments, real estate and business ventures, right? Elder and child care strategies. Instead of relying on expensive outside help, Black families can create in-home support systems, right? If we move like a community, we stop struggling like individuals. If we move like a community, we'll stop struggling like individuals. Do you get it? And here's the fourth pillar: career and business flexibility, wealth over wages. Here's why 9 to 5 keeps us stuck, right? Black people are paid less for the same work, promoted slower, and less likely to inherit the business, right? We have the work till you die mentality, and it keeps Black men and women exhausted with no long-term gain. Here's the truth, right? Instead of just working jobs, Black couples should build businesses and assets together, right? Skill-based labor sharing. If one person is great at managing money and the other person's great at networking, both contribute in ways that build wealth. Career growth without straining the relationship. One partner should never feel like their dreams are a financial risk to the family. That should never happen. A Black couple should be a wealth building team, right? Not just two people trying to pay bills together, right? But not every city supports black couples equally. Okay, so some places have better opportunities, lower costs, more black wealth potential, right? So Atlanta, Charlotte, Houston, DC, Detroit, you got options. Like you can actually pull this off, right? But there are some cities that are really bad for black couples to try to develop in and resist systemic barriers, like New York, San Francisco, LA, Boston. The environment you build in matters, right? Choose a city that allows you to thrive, not survive, because black couples aren't surviving, right? Like we can talk about how black couples aren't thriving, but if I point at a dead animal on the side of the road and complain that he's not thriving, what were my expectations? So here's the final blueprint, how the Black legacy model works in action. Build an economic partnership first, right? Romance second. Money stress kills relationships. Get on the same page financially early, right? Balance labor fairly. No one should be overworked. Household chores, what's the name? Child care, emotional labor should be distributed, not dumped on one person. Create financial safety nets, life insurance, emergency savings, multiple streams of income. This is just to avoid survival mode, right? Like, this is just so y'all calm down. Ownership, entrepreneurship, and group economics keep us struggling forever, right? But we need to prioritize long-term wealth over that short-term struggle and really build a community that supports your relationship. Relationships thrive when they aren't isolated, right? So find like-minded black couples, invest in networks, create spaces where black love is nurtured and not drained. Black love is an investment, not just a feeling. And I think that's something our community never considered. They never understood that when you're participating in black and black love, right? And I'm just meaning this from the bottom of my heart. You are investing in the survival of our community, of our ethnic group, of our race, of our journey, of our bloodlines. That's what you're doing. And it's that significant. That's why it's a power move. The American dating model was never built for us. So let's just build one, right? The Black legacy model ensures that both partners gain from the relationship instead of being overworked or used, right? This isn't about who pays the bills. It's about making sure neither of us are struggling, because a black couple really isn't just a love story. It's just a power move. Right?
So welcome back to Visions Now, Suffolk Club. And I'm Dr. Gerald Eaton Hood. And of course, here, the Invisible Man is Julian. There he is. He's the Invisible Man. You hear his voice. So Julian, as you know, you've been around here. I've been teaching. It's not an I thing, but I just have to say it. I believe in this. A lot of people don't believe in "I told you so," but I believe in "I told you so." People get offended. Oh, that you telling you. Yeah, I told you so. I said that before.
I did tell you.
Yeah, I ain't gonna get. I don't want to. If you told me, don't take your foot off of that either. Remind me, because we need to be reminded. Yeah, I told you so.
Maybe you'll listen next time.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. When will you start listening then? You see what I'm saying? You keep coming up wrong, and then you wonder. Well, yeah, I told you not to do it. I told you to do it this way. Okay, but
you shouldn't say that.
Yeah, you shouldn't say that. See, there you go. Yeah, when you always talking about you told me so. I wish you. Hey, I told you so.
Yeah, I think you said we too emotional sometimes.
To me, I told you so is divine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Sign of love. It could be.
Well, yeah, it is sign of love. But the other part of this, if you break a divine law, you're going to pay for it.
Right, yeah.
So Allah is saying, God is saying, I told you so.
Yeah.
Hey, if you pick a bad girlfriend and she messed over you, God said, remember, I told you so. You know what I'm saying? If she picks a bad dude, then God said, I told you so. Yeah. Because you suffering now. Yeah. All these ladies that picked the wrong daddy for their baby, all these guys that picked the wrong mama for their child. God said, I told you so. Yeah. It ain't about sex. Yeah. It's about partnership for something greater than you.
Right.
That's what it's about. So that's the listen.
Yeah.
I mean, I told y'all so, and I've been telling y'all so all these times. It's not, when I say I told you so, I'm passing on, I'm a messenger. I'm passing the word on. It's not like I came up with it. I'm just recognizing the law. And if I make a mistake, it's because I misunderstood the law. It wasn't because I just wanted to do it my way. No, I don't have no way. I didn't listen. This is the way divine law works. I did not bring myself here.
Right.
I was sent here by divine law.
Right.
So therefore, I'm still trying to learn divine law. And I'm trying to stay, and that's what we call Sufism. That's Sufi. When you're trying to live by divine law, not cultural law, not culture.
Not culture. Yeah.
Because the idea is that culture should be a reflection of the spirit of divine law. But many times people come up with culture because that serves them, their interests, the way they see it. No, I don't want to see it the way I see it. I want to see it the way God intended me to see it. In order for me to stay in tune with God, then I become godly.
Right.
Y'all don't hear me.
Right.
Yeah, y'all don't hear me. Y'all don't hear me. So,
but brother, it's good video, brother, on the topic of the 50-50 conversation.
I'm telling that's what he calls it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I call it sacred teachings of divine bonding,
right?
Of divine unions. That's what I call it. You know, and then one of the problem is that people are more concerned about who's sexing who. It ain't about who's sexing who. It's about where you going with your life.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. There's an issue about, and we're going to come back to something. And I know this is the issue about you can never be a woman if you do not submit. If you do not submit, you can never be a woman. Now, you can never be a man unless you accept your mission.
Right.
Is that strong?
Strong.
Is that deep? That's deep.
Yeah.
You cannot be a man. See, a man has a mission.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
I mean, you know, a male is born with a mission. When he accepts that mission, he's a man. Make sure I get in the book now.
Yeah, right.
That's when you now when the female accepts to submit to the mission that God had put in the man, in the male that became a man, then and only then does she become a woman.
Yeah, I see.
See, God make men and men make women.
Yeah, come straight down.
Yeah, I mean, again, okay, the womb of the man, what's the man is a baby.
Yeah.
So the womb of the man, a woman, it represents the womb of the man. Now God created the man. It just say many times, God is the divine man. Oh my God.
Right.
Oh my God. God is the divine man.
Yeah.
We got a brain.
Yeah.
But if you brain dead, you ain't mind dead, you brain dead.
Right, yeah.
Come on, Junior.
Yeah.
You brain dead.
Yeah.
Because you can't kill the mind.
Right.
Yeah. The mind is divine.
It's great beyond the brain, yeah.
So therefore, the mind is put into the man, because the man is mind, he's mind, and he then passes that mind on through the portal that we call woman. And the portal that we call woman, right, submits and accepts that mind that she nurtures and reproduces that mind, being fruitful and multiplying that mind.
Yeah.
Junior?
The cycle.
Man.
Yeah.
Man, this is, you have to go back and take notes off this, Junior.
Oh, yeah.
Because this is fire. Yeah.
Air
and fire meets water and earth. Remember this, the divine aspect of man is air and fire. That's the masculine energy comes from air and fire. The feminine energy comes from earth and water. Earth and fire and air inspires the earth and water, puts life into earth and water. So as a result of that, that's how life is continued. Yes. And that's when we're in our divine union. And the thing about it is, divinity, we are, what has to happen is this. Whenever a birth process is begun, that's a divine moment. That's a divine moment. So now, the problem is, how do you take that divine moment and extend it throughout your life? Yeah. See, what happened is that the male and female come together and get happy together and they make a baby, right? But soon as they get out of the bed, they fighting again. So then that divine moment has now been subjected. So therefore, the idea is that moment there, every time that moment occurs, when that spark of divinity occurs, our responsibility as man and woman is to extend that moment into all of our life. Yeah. And all of our life means that we are alive. And that means when we are alive, that means that we are loved. Together, yeah. That's when love happens, when that divine spark takes place. Yeah, not separately, but when it takes place, that's divine love. Union is divine love. See, so therefore, when life is produced, it's produced out of love. And the idea what happened is that we let the world take over as opposed to letting God take over our lives. And that's why we had a problem that we do in relationships. Culture or just the world? That's the toxic culture. That's why you got so many different cultures. Okay? In other words, and some cultures have you closer to divine than others. Okay. That goes back to the health of the creator of the culture. If you are, see, when we were a divine people, they still marvel at the things that we did. But we have gotten far away now. We are honoring our children. Yeah. And we've lost our divinity because we are worshiping dollars and greed and cars and positions and all these type of things become divine. Or replacing. They become more important than love. Anytime you make something more important than love, and love only occurs from the divine, from God. God is the supreme good. And that's why we say that God is all, is the all. The all in all. And what is outside of all? There's nothing outside of all. So therefore, when we talk about God, we talk about all of. Not Jehovah, not Yahweh. It's all. Not as now Yahweh and Jehovah are parts of all. Yes. So, there's so much to unpack. We're gonna have to pick up from here next week, I guess. We've see, that's the thing about it. Got me on fire here. Yeah, we'll put some of that in the book. Yeah, definitely. Got to go back and put it out. Got to put it out. So we hope that you again, hope we hadn't missed any calls. I don't know who we missed any calls. Anybody checking in? Okay, just want to say that we hope that you all would journey with us, and hope that you would enjoy yourself. By the way, we got a few announcements though, Julian, don't we? Okay. Okay. What's some of the announcements? One Let Us Make Man is going to be coming up next weekend.
Man, April the 26th is coming up, fast approaching. I think it's next
Saturday.
Yeah, so not this upcoming one.
Right. 9 a.m. At Columbus State University. Doors open at 8, and is the lunch free?
I haven't even asked, but it may be provided.
Okay, but it is definitely provided. It's probably going to be free. So again, Let Us Make Man. Okay, and it says, what is Let Us Make Man? Different from a conference, the gathering is more of a coming together of interested people for the express purpose of changing the way we see and interact with one another, changing the way we promote programs and activities in the community, and changing the way we hold each other accountable. My thing is, I call that hold somebody accountable when I say I told you so, Julian. Julian, I told you.
Right, yeah,
okay.
Accountability.
What I do, I mean, yeah, but I told you, man. I told you. Watch them people, man. I told you, man. Don't do it like that, man. Yeah. It's the accountability. So people, so my thing is that when I'm held accountable, I say, my bad. I mean, what can I submit?
Right. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because it ain't you, it's the truth. Right. It's the law. So that's what it's all about. And who should attend? Of course, anyone. The latest you can come to.
Yeah. Don't have to be a student also.
Don't have to be a student. And it's free. Our space is limited. So again, give us a call if you want to go, and that type of thing. And I guess maybe we can send it out to on our New Era Coalition link. Can we send that out? Some kind of blast out? And not get tagged. I mean, you know how to do that now. Okay. So we want to. And by the way, remember that we are working on retrieving, rescuing. The Liberty Theater has been kidnapped by the city, and we're trying to rescue the Liberty Theater. They're holding the Liberty hostage. And so you need to help us retrieve and rescue the Liberty Theater from being taken hostage by the city of Columbus. Okay? And they have alien forces operating in control of the Liberty Theater. We must get it back home to our community where it belongs. And those of you who know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm saying, Okay? So what else is going on?
I don't know if you heard, there was 2 school shootings that happened.
2 school shootings.
One yesterday and one today.
One was at Florida State. Now, did they say what ethnicity might have been involved? Or?
They did not say, not in the article that I already seen. But I think they said it was 6 casualties and a couple of injuries from Florida State. Okay. I didn't see what happened in Memphis. I think it was in. I got to double check that. I think they said it was in Memphis.
Oh, okay.
Texas,
something in Memphis.
Yeah.
Now, by the way, what's going on at Columbus State University?
Approaching the end of the semester, we was able to have the NAACP. Fortunately, we had our first general body meeting, so it got getting some legs up under the organization.
Okay.
I'm pretty excited about that. But yeah, really just planning for.
So you glad I push you into it?
I want to use it.
I told you.
I wouldn't have done it otherwise. It's not necessarily my crowd, but
I know. But I'm trying to tell you that it ain't about that. It's about the mission.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. So
making some good progress.
Right. It just has to be done. I mean,
exactly. Exactly. So getting that organized.
Right.
getting ready for some volunteering for the summer, and so kind of bringing in the fall fast approaching.
Right. And oh yeah, by the way, see what I'll see if I got a quote. See what if I have a quote. See if I got a quote there. Today, so we can end with just a little thing here. I'm going to read it to end up the show tonight. It says, when you plant lettuce, if it does not grow well, you don't blame the lettuce. You look for reasons it is not doing well. It may need fertilizer or more water or less sun. You never blame the lettuce. Yet if we have problems with our friends or family, we blame the other person. But if we know how to take care of them, they will grow well, like the lettuce. Blaming has no positive effect at all, nor does trying to persuade using reason and argument. Let me read that again. Blaming has no positive effect at all, nor does trying to reason or persuade using reason and argument. That is my experience. No blame, no reasoning, no argument, just understanding. If you understand and you show that you understand, you can love and the situation will change. So it's something to think about. Yeah. I think that's because it's a challenge. Yeah. So the idea is that that you just reminded someone that look, when you say, "Well, I told you so," and I told people that this was going to happen to the Living Theater. Again, when I say I, let me make this clear. It's EYE, not I. Right. The letter is EYE. Mine's I. Okay, I received the message, and not only that, but also these are the worst of times, and these are the best of times. Right. We're saying that too. Okay, and united we stand, divided we fall. Right. As long as we're hanging, we ain't failed yet. So hang on in there, baby. Right, so hang on in there. All right. So any last words, Julian?
Peace and blessings, and see you next Thursday.
All right. Good work, Lord willing, the creek don't rise. Yeah. So as always, like I say, so more to be. Shalom. Hotel.
Peace, soul, love, with a little sprinkle of power. Good night.
Before your ministry. Well, then they call in.